Welcome to Get Gutsy. I'm your host, Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. A cutting-edge show blending business and spirituality, Get Gutsy serves up a potent blend of stories, lessons, and tips to help you make a massive impact in the world through your soul's work and your inspired life. No more going it alone, no more excuses. The world needs more brave women saying yes to leadership. Are you with me? Good. Let's get gutsy now. Hey there, Jenny here. Welcome to my first solo episode of Get Gutsy in a very, very long time. This episode has been a long time in the making, and it's time. It's time. I've been alluding to this episode for a bit, and I'm really pumped to be creating it for you right now. Make sure you go to my blog to jennyfennig.com and you can find this episode called India Sobriety and Turning 40 because I have included some really beautiful photos from my trip to India. And the blog has a different energy than the podcast episode, so I encourage you to dive into both. All right. Take me up on my offer to give you this. And let's just hunker down for a little bit of time together so I can deliver up this message that I've just been so excited to be able to deliver. So I'm back from my 2-week journey through India. Life is never going to be the same in a good way. I turned 40 last week, and I want to thank everyone in my community for helping me celebrate this next decade. I mean, it just felt so big leading up. And then it was funny on the actual day. It was just kind of like, okay, here we are. I feel like I did so much to prepare. India helped me usher in this new decade. And, if Facebook knows your birthday, you know how it is. You get like, it's beautiful. I mean, messages from every walk of life, people you've known from you just met or you've known them for decades, and you have all of these messages coming in. And for me, it reminded me of just how wide my circle spans. I want to give a shout out to several of you who for really helping me, celebrate, for sending me something special, either a card or a gift or just a note, just a note sharing something sweet. Shout out to Tracy M's. Shout out to Elaine Wellman. Shout out to Jessica Perry. Shout out to Carolyn from Emeryville, CA. So cool. So cool. So cool. Also want to give a shout out to, my gosh, I have all these like screens open because I want to personally say thanks. I want to give a shout out to Sam Merch for your beautiful gift. I want to give a shout out to Hannah Gaysford for your beautiful words. Daniela Glusica, Carolyn Woodson, Helen Argiriu. I don't know if I'm saying your last name right, Helen, but you know who I'm talking about. Natalia Diaz, Sarah Pipkin, Kristen Tippelt. Thanks so much for your beautiful words, and just my family, just everybody, like everyone who helped me usher in 40. My kids were so cute. Um, my son and I, we were at Michael's one day, that arts and crafts shop, and he found like a 4 and a 0, like the balloons, and he wanted to get those, and he got streamers, and together they decorated in this cute little like garland thing. And anyway, it was just really special. I didn't want like a big party. My husband offered to do that, and I was like, oh, I don't really want that. I like to keep it, simple and just really kind of quiet. My big party days were in the past. I'm not saying that I won't get there again, but India to me was really, that was like the big celebration. So everything feels different. It's hard to explain. I saw things in India that I had never seen before. I felt things I'd never felt before. I ate food I had never tasted before. I bought a silk caftan I am so excited to wear. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I was inspired by our tour guide in Delhi who had this fabulous caftan. I was like, oh my gosh, she looks so stylish. And then we went to a shop maybe later that day, perhaps the next day, and they had all the silk. And I said, oh, there, it's fabulous. So I'm gonna bust it out soon. I wore bindis on my face and I love bindis. Just so you know, I brought some home for my daughter Kate. She kind of just uses them as stickers. I learned, I connected, I sweated my ass off. It was so freaking hot. Like the high was like 111, sometimes even higher than that. Hot, hot, hot. I laughed, I moved, I felt alive. I plan to write this post and record a podcast episode with this theme for a few months now. You might have heard me talk about it. I even wrote a good part of it when I was in India, and I thought I would finish the piece last week, but I simply didn't have the space inside myself for it. Self care had gone to another level during my time in India, and I didn't want to revert back to unhealthy habits of pushing myself too hard in a quest to prove myself to the world. My theme during this cycle I'm in right now is worth, truth, and letting go. That's also the theme for my mastermind. My mastermind's called Glow, and my clients are doing such beautiful work in there. So I'm honoring this theme of worth, truth, and letting go, even when it feels hard. What are you ready to honor, even though it may feel hard? What new moves are you ready to make? Some questions to ponder today. What are you ready to honor, even though it may feel hard? And what new moves are you ready to make? So now comes the time when I get to share what I wrote for you when I was in India. Some of you may wonder why I am so obsessed with this country. My answer: she speaks to my soul. The book I read by Stanley Wolpert called India captures my feelings pretty well. There's a quote from the book: Ah, India, who can fathom your depths or reconcile your complexities? Who can fathom your depths or reconcile your complexities? Love that line from the book. India is mysterious, beautiful, heartbreaking, and oppressive, grand, dilapidated, simple, and confusing. She's everything and nothing all at once. And she set the stage for the ushering in of the next decade of my life and the next level of my teachings. Here's what I wrote on the evening of the full moon in India, which was May 10th, 2017, about India, sobriety, and turning 40. I invite you to soak it up and enjoy. Full moon fever. I sit here under the Buddha moon, glowing from above. What is the message from Mother Moon? What magic does she shine on me? I came to India to get a deeper understanding of who I am and why I'm here. This trip coincides with two important moments in my life: my 2-year sobriety anniversary and my 40th birthday. I've learned a number of lessons in my 40 years and many important truths in the 2 years since I've let go of alcohol. If you would have told me in my teens or 20s that I'd one day let go of my party girl status by giving up drinking, I would have laughed in your face. Alcohol was my friend, my crutch, my fast track to fun. But 2 years ago, I received a very clear message: release alcohol from my life, and I will live a life beyond my wildest dreams. I received this message from God. It freaked me out with its clarity, but I trusted it and obeyed. Honestly, maintaining this sobriety has been easy. I had already ran many years worth of experiments with me and drinking. I already knew where those experiments led nowhere worth going anymore. I had given up a lot of my drunken sprees once I met my husband Stephen, and in June we will celebrate our 12-year wedding anniversary. So 2 years ago, when it became clear, okay, it's time for me to say yes to this next level. I was lucky in that I had already seen what life could be like without alcohol having a big place in my life, or really any place in my life. And this message for me is not a knock on alcohol. If you can drink responsibly, go for it. But for me, alcohol was holding me back from being my best. Drinking was not a good use of my time. Where do I like spending my time now? Feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling free, feeling my feelings. Are you able to feel your feelings? Or are you prone to numb out? If you numb, you're not alone. So much of the world is going through life comfortably numb. But I want to tell you this: you're safe and you're welcome to feel your feelings. You're safe to make moves. You're safe to get out of your comfort zone. You're safe to stand out. As I celebrate 40 years in this body, in this lifetime, what I know is that you don't do anyone any favors by dimming your light or hiding your truth. The more you speak up about what you want and know you can do, be, and have, the more the vision in your head becomes real. Don't be attached to the timeline. Trust the flow of life. Trust the nudges. Trust your intuition. Trust the messages you receive from your higher power. Many of these nudges will not make any logical sense. You will feel scared, vulnerable, exposed, naked. Sometimes you'll straight up feel crazy, because the guidance you'll receive will require a breaking away from the pack, from the crowd, from popular convention. Many won't understand why you're making certain decisions. Frankly, sometimes you won't understand either. But in your bones, you'll know. And that sacred knowing will guide you down the mystical road of discovery, where the treasure is waiting to be found. It may take you longer than you think. You'll experience detours and twists and turns and highs and lows. And sometimes you'll feel overwhelmed. And sometimes you'll want to run away from it all and go back to what you left behind. But then you get some rest and start again with a fresh mind and a full heart. And that is what you'll do over and over and over again as you walk in the glowing path towards your destiny. I'm now going to share some lessons learned that India, dear India, taught me. Are you ready? There are 7 lessons learned, and I'm so grateful for these lessons. Again, if you want to see some photos that bring these lessons to life, bring my words to life, they're really good. Most of them are from my trip to India. Then go to jennyfenig.com. You'll see it right there in the homepage. We have a running list of our most recent blog posts there. You'll see this one. Again, it's called India Sobriety and Turning 40. Click on it and you can check out the photos. I'm a pretty good photographer, I have to say, and I love it. So you can check that out. So, first lesson learned: vision equals reality. Vision equals reality. So, I, several years back, created a vision board, and it was actually part of this soul art process that Laura Hollick has created. And she invited me to create a vision board for this soul art day, I think she called it, and to share it with with the community and all that kind of stuff. And so it was a beautiful board. I have a picture of it on my blog, and I was at that point really channeling this whole India vibe. And I went through Oprah's O Magazine, and she had recently done a trip to India, and so there were photos of her trip, and there were these beautiful flowers that she was wearing around her neck, and then they were just decorating the page. I mean, it was just a beautiful spread about her time in India. I even have a picture of Oprah on my board. She has this a lei of flowers around her neck, and on the board I have placed these marigold flowers, these marigolds. And that board stayed up in my space for a long time. It's still actually my screensaver on my computer, my desktop computer. And those marigolds just, I didn't know it at the time, but they were beckoning me forward to this experience in India. And if you ever go to India, you'll see that marigolds are very, very popular there. And what amazing thing happened was in the first week of our journey through India, we were staying at this beautiful resort, this retreat center, Ayurveda retreat center, and we went to Ganesh's temple. Ganesh is a deity, a very well loved deity in India. Ganesha, and he's the deity with the elephant head and the human body, and he is the remover of obstacles. And we go to this temple, and it's amazing. You have to take your shoes off. It's like they're very just quite a amazing experience, very spiritual, very connected. It's all about devotion and chanting and giving yourself over to the divine. So some of you know I got my first ever pair of Birkenstocks before I went on this trip, and they're really cool. They're kind of like this navy, it's like royal blue actually, patent leather. They're like amazing, and I stuck them on like this concrete part of the temple before you go in. A bunch of the shoes were on the ground, and I like put mine in this spot that I found. And again, there's a picture on my blog, and I came out, and there was a marigold on my shoe. Like it just showed up there. I think Oprah put it there, seriously. And it was just this beautiful reminder of your vision becomes your reality. What are you claiming? What are you claiming? And so I toured many temples during my time in India, temples that just showed me the power of spirit and the power of devotion and the power of just turning it all over to the divine. And that marigold was like this thread that was woven throughout my experience that was a reminder of your vision becomes your reality. And one of the absolute highlights of my trip was visiting a school filled with children, from elementary through high school. At this one particular school, it's this village school, dirt floors, no doors on the door openings. Very, very simple, very simple. And we had the opportunity to go meet the children, teach them some things. My group, we were all into yoga, and many of us had trained to become yoga teachers, and we just have a love for connecting. And so we had the opportunity to go meet with these children, and I had the distinct honor and privilege of speaking to the group on behalf of our group, my tour group. I was so honored. I had about 3 minutes to prepare my remarks, and I absolutely said yes when the leader of our group asked me to if I would speak on behalf of the group, and I delivered a talk on the power of learning. But of course, when we arrived there, we received these beautiful necklaces made out of marigolds. And every time I look at the photo of me at this place, I just am overcome with gratitude and joy. I have my proud marigold necklace on. I have this beautiful red, bindi, if you will, right there on my forehead. And when I see the images of me with these children and with those marigolds around my neck, I mean, I just will never forget that peace that I felt. That just pure peace, that pure gratitude and delight at being with these souls who were so grateful to have us there. They didn't even have school that particular day. They came just to meet us, to meet my group. And they were curious and they were funny and they were loving. And, as a result, I was so touched, and I want to do my part to support the growth and expansion of that school. And so, something that we're going to be doing with our coaching school, with Get Gutsy Coach Training School, is we will be giving a portion of profits to this school that I visited, that has a place in my soul. Now I want to help them invest in their first ever female teacher, and some other projects that they've got going on. It just feels so right to me. I had a lot of my colleagues have helped build schools in Africa and other places, which I think is fantastic and wonderful and lovely. And I was kind of always just looking around for what was going to be my thing, what was going to get a place in my soul. And for me, India has done that, and this particular school has done that. I feel like these children are children I want to help support, and giving them the education that they deserve, and just really helping them see about the power of learning, which is really what I talked about in my talk. That's what I talked about. All right, so I had to bring that little segment. My son like barges in. He's like, "Rah," and I'm like, "Hold on." Oh, life when you're working at home. So, anyway, that's the first lesson about vision equals reality. And I'm so grateful that I've had this experience. I'm so grateful that I have, just been touched by these students in India, and just showing them that the world cares about who they are, and their potential, and all of that good stuff. I feel grateful to have had that, just seen that. My eyes have been opened in new beautiful ways. Lesson number two is your life is a prayer. Your life is a prayer. Every move you make, every breath you take, your life is a prayer. What was that Madonna song? Yeah, like a prayer, like a prayer. It's funny. I was actually at a party recently, and uh, we they have a karaoke machine, and we sang like a prayer, and it was freaking fun. I got into it. It was so fun. I'm just thinking about that. Yes, yes, yes. Your life is a prayer, and so what is that prayer for you? How are you doing it? For me, one of the most touching experiences that I had, in addition to that school experience, was we visited a Sikh temple. We visited a Sikh temple, and it was absolutely, oh my gosh, so freaking. I just felt the presence of God. I mean, it was just so amazing. One of our tour manager from the India based company who helped organize our journey through India, he's a Sikh, and I didn't know much about the Sikh religion before I got to India. Learned a lot about the Sikh religion, and again, I read this whole book on India. I feel like really smart about India, and just this part of the world. And I learned about Sikhs, and we had the opportunity to go visit our tour guide, our tour manager's temple in Delhi, India. And at this particular temple, they serve 50,000 meals per day. 50,000 meals per day. And it's not just people who can't afford to eat. It was explained to us like CEOs go here, all levels of economic affluence come and get their soul fed at this temple. And we had the chance to visit the temple. It was beautiful inside, and volunteer in the kitchen of the temple. Again, they serve 50,000 meals. And so we went into the kitchen of the temple and we made bread. Again, a photo on my blog of the temple inside where they're serving the meals, and then when we were making the bread, and my group and I, we were so touched by this. Like, we had a blast. I could have stayed there making bread all day. We just had dough balls, and we were rolling it out with a rolling pin. And I had this Indian man next to me, and he spoke no English, and I'm not speaking his language, and but yet we did speak the same language. We looked in each other's eyes, and he was showing me how to do it, and there was just something so beautiful about that whole process, and that whole feeling that I had when I was there. We were so welcomed. We were so appreciated. I didn't feel like an outsider. I didn't feel like they didn't want us there. We were just included. There was this level of inclusiveness and honor and sacredness that it was just so present. It was so there, so beautiful. I love we covered our heads, and we definitely had to cover our shoulders. There's a lot of that, the covering out of respect in many parts of India, especially in the temples. And that time at the Sikh temple is something that I will never forget. And it was just this whole your life is a prayer. And how are you giving? And how are you loving? And how are you experiencing the world? And how are you sharing your experience with the world and understanding that we're more alike than we are different, and that we really are all in this together. That's absolutely lesson number two. Your life is a prayer. All right. Let's move into lesson number three. And I have to be honest with you, I have recorded this podcast episode in three parts, and this is the third part. And I recorded this a few days back. Oh my God, it was great. It was so good. And then I realized that the mute button was pushed on my microphone. I wanted to die. So I am recording this. I told my son, I gave him a heads up. I have three kids, but one of them's up, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this final recording. And so if I have a kid coming in here, we're just going to have to roll with it because I am a mother and you cannot control noise or kind of anything when you are a mom of three kids. My husband is traveling right now, and that's that. I just want to be real with you. Like, I can't put on a mask, and that's definitely one of the blessings from my trip to India. And I hope this gives you permission to get out and serve no matter where you are in your life, what's up. Stop waiting for it to be perfect. It's going to be messy sometimes. And I think we can all talk about that and celebrate that. I think when things are too like glossy and fancy and nice and neat in a box, well, it's pretty much just not real life. So, you ready for lesson number three? Let's go. Remember the mission. Remember the mission. So, yeah, I remembered the mission when I was in India, and I believe it was the mission that got me there. The mission for me was and is yoga. Yoga. Yoga changed my life 10 years ago when I trained to become a yoga teacher, and it was 6 years prior to that that I really fell in love with yoga. So, I've been a very diligent student of yoga for 16 years at this stage, and I love it. When I practice, I feel good. And feeling good and having that good feeling stem from a healthy choice and not a destructive choice is a big deal in my world because that wasn't always the case for me. So my mission is to help transform the the world of my people, right? The worlds of my people through achieving mastery over the mind. And that is the crux of yoga. Many people think yoga is so you can look awesome in your Lululemon or so you can, contort yourself into a full lotus. And those are wonderful details that might occur through a diligent yoga practice, but it's not the point. That's not the point. The point of yoga, the purpose of yoga, is to achieve mastery over the mind. And I will tell you that as you grow your business, you've got to give so much energy and focus to achieving mastery over your mind because your mind will either take you crazy places or it will take you awesome places, and you get to decide. You get to decide that. I see most of the people who I've had a chance to work with in my business, it's their mind that will derail them or help them achieve the success that they deserve. So just remember that. Absolutely. Remembering the mission is, oh my gosh, that just came to the forefront. So if you head over to my blog, again, where I have some beautiful photos from my trip, jennyfenig.com, you'll see this episode there. Oh, you'll see this great photo of me. I actually am in full lotus. Hooray. And it is challenging for me. Again, 16-year practitioner of yoga. one foot on top of my leg. Pretty simple. The other one, I'm like, woo! Uh, if you don't know what full lotus is, you can go check out the picture of me. I'm in front of the Taj Mahal on a yoga mat, and I am really tapped in. I'm really tapped in. And that was a beautiful experience to be able to practice yoga in front of the Taj Mahal and to practice yoga with an Indian yoga teacher who told us that it's not even called yoga, it's called yog. Just so you know, my mind was blown. I said, "What? It's called yog." Apparently, we're the ones who add the a, and it's really not even called that. It's called yog. So I'm still getting my mind blown around that. Okay, and he brought us into this place of stillness and discipline. He was in the Indian army for a long time, and you could kind of just feel that in him. But he had this real love of yoga, and I loved being able to practice with the various Indian yoga teachers or yog teachers who we had on our trip, because I felt like they had this wisdom that I was totally open to, even if it wasn't, the classic yoga that I was used to in the United States, which is sometimes feels very cardio based, and let's work up that sweat and like move super fast, and it didn't feel like that in India at all. And so I felt like we were getting back to the roots of yoga, the core of yoga, the birthplace of yoga, and it helped me remember my mission. Absolutely remember my mission. The first week while I was there, we practiced with my teacher, Larissa Hall Carlson. She's a US based yoga teacher, former dean of the School of Ayurveda at Kripalu. And she taught us so much about Ayurveda, and our practice was rooted in kind of Ayurvedic wisdom. And that was a great way to kick off our time together for our yoga journey. And I sweated so much because that place, the Gokarna Beach where we stayed the first week, was so freaking humid. But yeah, every day I was practicing yoga, and oh, that was awesome. Like in a class, and I don't do that at home when I'm at home. I can't get to class every single day, like to a yoga studio, but I can practice yoga, right? And so can you. And I say yoga, but for you, maybe it's something different. For you, maybe it's running, or it's hiking, or it's kickboxing, or it's spinning, or what is one of my friends likes her bar classes. And whatever it is for you, I really advocate a movement piece in your life, because it helps you still those fluctuations in the mind. In yoga, vrittis. So we want to come back to that place of stillness, that small still voice inside, where you know that you're safe and you're strong and you're smart and all is well. And when you do that, you can remember your own personal mission. And so, yes, my mission is rooted in spreading this joy of yoga and mastery over the mind, but it's also connected to empowering you to cash in on your calling. And I'm very, very committed to working with spiritual healers and creatives who want to be coaches, or who are already coaches, and they want to spread their message and their teachings and their wisdom and all of it. That's where I hang. That's what I do. And this month in particular, in June, I'm like balls to the wall. Like this is what's up. We've got some amazing things going on. We're opening enrollment in our summer class of our coaching school, and I've got several things that I'm doing to celebrate that. I'll tell you more about one in a bit. So, yeah, remembering your mission is critical, and it's really about remembering your why. Okay, why do you do what you do? What is your divine assignment? What is that mission? And the more that you can do that, the more that you can celebrate that, the more that you can bask in that, happier you're going to be, and the further you'll go. Lesson number 4 is that we are more alike than we are different. Yeah, I mean, it's just a simple insight, simple piece of wisdom, but one that is absolutely worth talking about. On my blog, I have a photo of me and our Indian
tour manager. He worked for the Indian tour company who really organized the trip on the India ground. We have like a US based tour manager and India based tour manager. And so our India based tour manager is named Sandy. I think I told you about him from the temple we visited. I can't remember because now I'm doing this episode in three parts, so my mind isn't as fresh as if I did it in one pass. But the one pass just wasn't happening this week, and you sometimes gotta surrender into that and just do your best with what you've got. So, so yeah, Sandy is Sikh, and he wore a turban every day, and they don't cut their hair ever, the men. And we just learned about these differences and nuances. But I'll say that Sandy loves his family, and he was telling us about his kids and his parents and his wife and his siblings and his joy. And although at first he looked really different, I was kind of like, who's this dude with the turban, who we're traveling around India with for the next 2 weeks? I really, really got to know him and so appreciated his service to our group because he was like our bodyguard almost. I call him like our manager. Anytime something needs to get handled, I'm like, oh, Sandy will handle that. Oh, man, my manager's handling that. It was a wonderful feeling to be so cared for. And throughout India, I saw, people who were, quote, different than me, different skin color, different nationality, different socioeconomic status, perhaps, and yet we're more alike than we're different because we're all looking for a great life for our family. We're looking for a fantastic experience for ourselves. We want to eat good food. We want to live comfortably, whatever that definition of comfort is. We want to be surrounded by love, and we want to extend the kindness out in our hearts. And I do believe, even though what's happening in the world right now, I mean, there's some challenging things going on, that deep down we are more alike than we are different. And I feel if we can remember that, even when we're in the height of things feeling super different, like, I don't know about this doesn't feel legit, this feels weird, we can bask in the knowing that we all have blood running through our veins, we have a heart, we have a soul that is asking something of us. And I encourage you and I challenge you to keep that in the forefront of your heart. I'm not saying that you have to be in relationship with every single person in the world, especially those who are not healthy for you, but just remember that we are more alike than we're different. And that can help you to explore the world a bit deeper. Some of you might want to go places, but you feel, quote, scared and you haven't done it. And I'm encouraging you to do it. There's such beauty that's waiting for you when you explore, and that's one of my missions. I have now implemented in my business. Just this year, we started doing it, taking my mastermind clients to a retreat abroad. When I say abroad, that's outside of the United States. So earlier this year, we went to Costa Rica. This summer, we're going to Mexico, to Tulum. And for some of my clients, they I remember my last mastermind class one had she needed to get a passport. She never needed a passport before. She'd been out of the country like once, but it was in the time when you didn't need a passport to go to certain places. And now you need a passport. So she got a passport to go to Costa Rica, and it really, really was a hugely pivotal trip for her. And that's a real love of mine, a real love, travel, and then exposing my high vibe leaders, my soulmate clients, to an adventure with me as their guide. So, number five, lesson number five is touch and be touched. Touch and be touched. Wow. Well, I just like the way that sounds. First off, touch and be touched, don't you? And the lesson was taught to me during my time at Swaswada, which is that beautiful Ayurveda resort that we were in at Gokarna Beach for that first week. And that was such a beautiful place to kind of acclimate myself to India. I say it was like India easy or India light because we were cocooned at this beautiful resort and so well taken care of. The food was fabulous. We went to like the village of Gokarna Beach one day and it was just like, oh my God, here we go. And that's when I had to kind of amp up and get my energy ready and do that, which was awesome. I'm so glad we did. But for the most part, we were chilling there and everyone was so attentive to us and how we were doing. We had several treatments while we were there, body treatments, Ayurvedic treatments, where a lot of it was oil based, which is a big piece of Ayurveda. They use herbs and oils, and we had what's called Abhyanga, which is an oil treatment, like an oil massage, essentially, where you have more oil on your skin and in your hair than you have ever, except the last time you had an Abhyanga service. Okay, and it's great. If you have not had Abhyanga before, I would suggest that you do. Go find a spa that offers that as on their menu. All right, so what was neat, and I'm going to give you this little piece of insight about me, and we're all women here, or most of us are anyway, and if you're not, well, I hope you can handle it by now. I was on my period while I was at Swaswara, okay? And I have never had like a massage therapist, and I have had a lot of body work in my life. I love getting body work done. I've never had a massage therapist or someone, working on my body asking me if I was on my cycle. And they want to know that when you are at Swaswara. And if you are on your cycle, they are not giving you the treatments because they believe that our bodies are working at that time. We are cleansing, it's a natural cleansing system. And so they don't want to kind of add more stuff to it. It's like our body's doing what it naturally knows how to do, which is really freaking spectacular when you think about it. Like we are dictated by the moon and our bodies cleanse themselves every cycle. Like that to me is rad. So what happened was I needed to delay getting my body treatments for a few days until the cycle was coming to an end. And once I did get the body treatments, it was like so amazing. We had synchronized massages. I've never had synchronized massage where two people were working on me and they don't do the whole cover all your body up game that we do here in the US, okay? When you get a massage, like you are naked. You're just it's naked. You do have a little covering on the bottom area, but little is the key word. And wow, synchronized massage, just let that sink in. And touching you on all parts, like not neglecting the breasts. We were so touched, and I was told this by my newly found friends on this trip. They're like, wow, you're touched everywhere. And so I was prepared, but wow, to touch and be touched. And so the love and the kindness and the just that they wanted us to be cared for, be nurtured, to not feel like certain parts were shameful or couldn't be included because there's all this stuff attached. It was eye opening for me. It really was to be touched in that way. And it was all from a place of care, kindness, health, wellness. Wow. And I felt that energy throughout that entire week to touch and be touched. Like they genuinely cared about you and ensuring that you felt comfortable. And it was a place for replenishment and revitalization. And I really felt like that there. I did. We left that week, I hadn't, and as long as I can recall, maybe ever, felt that healthy, felt that rested. I mean, I took naps. They told me when I was on my period, I should just be resting. Resting. So I did. I took a lot of naps every day. I was like, I'm going to take a nap because I could. And when we're parents, it's harder for us to find some of those snippets of time for ourselves to rest and take that nap. And my body really does appreciate naps. And so I took those naps, especially when it's really hot outside as it was there. I rested and I allowed myself to be touched and to bring that spirit home with me. And so I ask you today, how can you touch and be touched? Touch your customers in terms of touching their heart, allowing them to see how much you care and how committed you are to their growth, and to really touch a piece inside of them, a place inside of them that is ready for action. Yeah, ready for moves, ready for transformation, ready to move in the path of their destiny and your destiny. So, lesson number six. Lesson number six is heart for service. Heart for service, and this is really tied into first off my experience at Swaswada, because everyone there was so yeah, committed to us genuinely. What do you need? How can I get that for you? I mean, you know how sometimes you'll ask for something at a restaurant or some other spot where you need help, a hotel, an airport, and you feel like on the other end the person just doesn't want to help you, like just doesn't care, doesn't want to be there, probably not totally into their work. I didn't get that at all in India. Oh my gosh, were they into their work? Were they committed to their mission? And I just felt an extreme heart for service there, and it was beautiful. It was just totally inspiring. Inspiring. Our one of our waiters at Swaswada, I mean, he just everything. Can I get that for you? I'll get that for you. Oh yes, I will do that. What would you like? Yes, uh-huh. And it was, gosh, can't we all embody more of that in our lives? This heart for service. I love this photo again on my blog. You can go see it. And my friend Dana and I are hanging out with one of our waiters, and he just, oh my gosh, he was so joyful. And her and I both are rocking our bindis on our foreheads. And I've known Dana for a long time, a long time. Her and I go way, way, way back, since we were like 12, 13, middle school. And I'm looking at this photo, and our eyes, we seem so relaxed, so joyful, so in the flow. So in the flow, we stripped away a lot of the complexity, the quote stress that we experience in our lives, and just all the hustle and bustle that we tend to get ourselves into. And we just we just came to this place of chill, just chill and receive, relax and receive. And being around people in India who have a heart for service helped with that immensely. From the way that the women were, mostly I saw women doing it, but creating these beautiful flower arrangements, like these petals and these beautiful bowls of water. Those are very common in India, and the most beautiful little flower creations that I've seen. I've never seen anything quite like that before. I think it's a hallmark of India. But they were just arranging that, and there was just a simplicity to it, a real, act of love. As I saw those flower arrangements taking shape every single day, women, squatting and kind of breaking into these fruits to go through this dried fruit process. And we ran into them outside after we went on this walk around the property. This is also at Swaswada, and there's this calmness. This is what we do. This is our work, and again, just this heart for service. I'll never forget when we went to one of our this hotel in Delhi, which was extraordinary. It's called the Trident Gurgaon. Love it. Go back to India, I'm definitely going there, or I'm going to like every Trident location, because the Trident Hotel blew me away. So there's a bunch of Trident hotels in India. If you go to India, I really, really recommend that hotel. So we went to the Trident, we checked in Delhi, and when we came in, I was just like, this place is spectacular. I just felt it. I felt the energy. I felt us being welcomed. And as we were going to our room, there was our I guess like your steward, I forget what they're called, kind of the person who's responsible for the upkeep of the room, kind of like your housekeeper, but I don't know if that's the official name. And I was coming down the hallway, and he says to me, "I hope your day is as bright as your smile." Oh my, I melted. I said, that is so fantastic. I'm going to start using that. Do you want to start using that line? I hope your day is as smart as your smart. I hope your day is as bright as your smile. Oh, wow. How lovely is that? Oh my goodness. The other piece there that was interesting is the tipping is not the same as it is in the US. I feel like in the US it's, oh gosh, I don't want to knock this country, but there's just like, you're kind of like, I got to tip everybody, like, the people are doing it because they want the tip. And in India it's not like that. I was so used to tipping that when I got to that hotel in Delhi, which blew me away, I was just like, oh my, about wanted to cry because it was so gorgeous. And we had this long journey to get there from Gokarna Beach, and it was just like we got there and we had arrived, and I just kind of wanted to melt and collapse and cry because what a journey. And so I instinctively just gave the guy, the porter, with the bags, who came to our room and told us about our room, like a tip. And he said, "Oh, ma'am, we don't accept individual tips here. We do have a group tip box in the lobby, and I'm happy to put this in that box if you desire." And so it was, again, he simply wanted to help us because he wanted to help. That heart for service, I do feel like we've lost our way somewhat in the US. And I'm not sure how it is in your country, wherever you are tuning in from, but I'd like to bring that back to the forefront. Bring that back to the forefront. Okay, y'all. Oh my, we are at the final lesson. The final lesson. Wow, what a journey. And I do feel the fact that I had to do this podcast. You don't feel it in three parts, but I do because I'm the one who made it for you. And I love you so much that I'm willing to push through, or keep going, even against the time that the freaking thing was on mute, my microphone, and it was so good. But I think this one's even better. All right. I love you all so much. I wanted to be able to share my India journey with you, and what I learned around this trip and turning 40 and then celebrating 2 years without alcohol in my life, and what's happened as a result, like what my eyes see now, what my heart feels now, what my soul experiences now. And it's just been spectacular. So I hope that you've enjoyed where we've gone on this episode, and what these lessons are, and how they impact you, not just me, but how do they impact you? How do they impact your life? All right, lesson number 7, and I kind of feel some feet. I feel and hear feet of one child, maybe both, who's getting up. So we could seriously have a child moving in, and I'm not going to pause this because I'm refusing to go a fourth part. And we may just hear some voices, and I have to talk to them, and I'll be happy to talk to them. And y'all will just know that Jenny is a mom, and she does this. She gets up early sometimes, and I just roll with the punches. And I get back on the horse, I get back on the elephant, I get back on the camel, which is, you guys, you have to go to my blog to see the photos, because literally I am riding on a camel and I am riding on an elephant. And that is the point of lesson number 7: be willing to get uncomfortable. Some people that I meet are not willing to get uncomfortable. Actually, they're kind of what I call comfortably numb, and I see that as an uncomfortable situation, but they are so in the groove, and they're unwilling to make a change. They're unwilling to make an investment. They're unwilling to make a decision and go through maybe a change in their schedule, adding something in this quest of cashing in on your calling as a coach, as a spiritual teacher, as a guide. And I honestly can't help people who are like that. I can't. And so if that's you, if you're not ever willing to get uncomfortable, I'm not going to be able to help you. Okay. And I got to be straight up around that, because I only work with people who are willing to get uncomfortable, only willing to make investment, willing to double down on yourself, bet on yourself, go deep, like do it. You are my soulmate client. Someone who I'm having on the show very soon, Carly Hope, who's amazing. She shared this line this week. I interviewed her for her show. Will go live in sometime this summer. And she said she now has a rule where she only works with, like, she'll only enroll clients who she calls soulmate clients, which I love. If she would want to go on a holiday with them. If she'd want to go on a holiday with them. And if she doesn't want to go on a holiday with them, she would not enroll them as clients. And I was like, boom. And I'm really at that place now in my journey, especially with our coaching school, which I definitely want you to check out, coachtrainingschool.com. We now have an in-person retreat built into that, and not just an in-person retreat, but at my home. And so I'm at this point where I only want to enroll clients who I'd want to have in my home. Like that takes it to another level. And I did that on purpose because I was really craving that. I was craving that connection. I have this gorgeous home. I have a beautiful workspace. I want to show this to my coaching students. I want to show you how I do this thing, how I've built this business, multiple six figures in revenue, and bring you into my space, hold sacred circle with you, teach you how to hold sacred circle, lead sacred circle, teach you how to lead rituals, and take your clients on a journey. Right? I want to show you all of this. I want to take you deeper into these tools that are available to you, show you how to build a business, what you need to be doing as a marketer and an entrepreneur and a coach. And so that's my whole thing is I want to be working with people who I literally would want to have in my home. And that's not everybody. I saw my friend recently who was doing something in her home and she was like, I don't want to work with assholes. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I don't want to work with assholes. And I share that with you, offer that up to you. You don't have to work with assholes either. And so for me, yes, I only work with clients who are willing to get uncomfortable, who will do things even though they are scared, and to celebrate that with guts and glory and grace. Yes. And so for me, the trip to India, oh my God, was I uncomfortable? Yeah, I was. Oh, yeah, and seriously, go look at those pictures. Camel, elephant. I mean, the elephant one was the scariest for me. My life flashed in front of my eyes a few times. We were going up this walkway to the Amber Palace in Jaipur, and the heights feeling was coming on me. And I was kind of like, we're up high now. And literally, the life was flashing in front of me. And it's all good. I made it and I was proud. And the whole trip, I was proud. I was proud to have met new people that I had never met before and literally gone on this amazing journey together and talk about developing friendships. I mean, yeah, the people I traveled with, I'd hang out with them again in a heartbeat. Okay. And you develop a connection that doesn't come from surface level stuff, from idle chit chat at a party, or from idle like chit chat in a Facebook group. It's just completely new level. And that's what I'm all about. That's how I design my offerings as well. If you don't want to go deep, do not ever work with me. Ever. And if you quit at the first sign of challenge, don't ever sign up for one of my programs because I can't help you. I can't. And I say that with love, but I'm just super clear on who I'm meant to serve and who I'm not, and you need to be too. Don't waste your time trying to help the whole freaking world because you can't want to help someone more than they want to help themselves. You can't want transformation for your clients more than they want it for themselves. And that is a straight up truth. Oh my goodness. So, thank you so much for listening and being a part of this journey. I thought about my work and my tribe so much while I was in India. I did that trip for you all, of course, for myself and for my path, but it absolutely took me deeper into my teachings. I am bringing this forward into how I'm serving. Again, this month we are celebrating the opening of our summer class of Coach Training School. We are filling by application. That's something new that we're bringing back for our coaching school. I did that when we first launched our first few classes. Then we removed that. And then I said, you know what? It's time that we bring that application journey back to the fold because I want to ensure that we are bringing in those high vibe leaders, the right energy. You're ready for this experience. And not everybody is, honestly. Not everybody is cut out to be a coach. And it's my job to ensure that those who we allow into our school are ready. And so if you're feeling the call, if you are wanting to work with me, if you want to come hang out at my home for a beautiful 2-day retreat. If you want to have some awesome guest teachers, we're having Danielle Laporte as one of our guest teachers this cycle. I mean, the whole program is just new level, new level, new level. CoachTrainingschool.com. You want to check that out and apply if it calls out to you. I would be honored. And even prior to that, we have what we're kind of like our warm up offering for our audience. It is a new, what I call a sacred map and meditation that I created, and it's beautiful. It is helping you attract ideal coaching clients, and the meditation is super rad. Like, I'm really excited about that. And then the map is kind of this very simple, like a step by step, some nuggets that you can sink your teeth into around, closing sales and what you want to be doing as a new coach and how you can make money as a coach. Just some like little tidbits, some tips, some a place for you to kind of focus on as you are saying yes. You want to take your teachings, you want to take your path, and you want to turn it into a successful coaching business. I'm giving you two different resources with this sacred map and meditation straight out of the gate. And then once you sign up for that, you'll get info on a free training that I'm having online later this month to help you convert your expertise and gifts into a successful coaching business. Like so many people, whether you come from a corporate background, whether you are like a chiropractor, kinesiologist, a yoga teacher, a massage therapist, a Reiki healer, a psychic intuitive, a crystal healer, you are a professional, and maybe you've been a stay-at-home mom for a bit and you want to get back into the work game. Coaching is a fantastic way to do it. Like, it is so extraordinary. And this month you're going to hear me talking about it, shouting it from the rooftops, because it's my job. It's my job because it is. All right. So go get the sacred map and meditation at jennyfenig.com/clients. That's jennyfenig.com/clients. You'll see it there. Spread this episode with your friends, spread that link with your friends, like really work with me on this, because we have this assignment. I feel like it's a shared mission and we're going to do it. So jennyfenig.com/clients. And with that, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Send me love. My husband's out of town for a bit and we're going to have a great time. It's just, there's, life. Life and love. And my kids have like last day of school next week. My daughter has last day of daycare. There's a lot of transition in the air. Some of my clients have experienced transition, family members passing over, just a lot. And so if you're feeling tender right now, know that you're not alone. And the more that you get in alignment and commit to doing work that you love and being around people that you love, and again attracting in those soulmate clients, the ones that you would go on holiday with, as my good friend Carly says. Here in the US we call it vacation. That's when things just boom will just go beyond the beyond for you, and you will be on this path that you never want to get off of. I love you all. This is Jenny Fenig sending you so much love, light, and faith as you get gutsy. I will see you next time.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Get Gutsy with Jenny Fenig. Gutsy leaders unite and ignite.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Get Gutsy as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. Are you responsible for leading and growing your spiritual business? If so, I have a free tool for you that will help you spread your message like wildfire. It's called the Sacred Marketing Puzzle, and it's a one-page PDF guide that simplifies the often mysterious and confusing world of marketing. When you use sacred marketing tools to amplify your message, you'll provide huge value to your tribe and grow your business. What are you waiting for? Go to jennyfenig.com/puzzle to get yours instantly. That's jennyfenig.com/puzzle. Gutsy leaders, unite.